prayers. Okay. Yes, after the prayers, we will discuss important section and then try to continue from there. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Desatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we are in chapter 7 and we are nearly finishing chapter, but very important section we have been dealing with. So the last week, not last week, Monday, actually we have discussed about demigod worship and what Kṛṣṇa speaks about demigod worship and what's the mood. So the mood should be like they are the devotees of Lord, and we should ask them to give a benediction so that we can approach towards Kṛṣṇa, not desiring for material gains, many benefits. Also there we discussed about how Kṛṣṇa said that, let me share it in the screens. Hope you can see my screen.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So Kṛṣṇa says that I'm in everyone's heart, and as soon as one desires to worship demigod, I make their faith steady. So Kṛṣṇa is the one who makes their faith steady. And then Kṛṣṇa says that and with such a faith, he endeavors to worship a particular demigod and obtains his desires, but actually these benefits are bestowed by me alone. So whatever the benefits we get by worshipping demigods, the benefits are actually being bestowed by Kṛṣṇa himself. And then Kṛṣṇa says that men of small intelligence worship demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. We took the example of Ravana worshipping Lord Shiva, and then Hiranyakashipu worshipping Lord Brahma, right? And still we see that everything is temporary. And Kṛṣṇa says that my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. See.
Yeah. Papa, अब किधर के लिए तो स्कूल नहीं खत्म करना.
Okay, ठीक है, शांति रहोगी, ठीक है. So Kṛṣṇa says that my devotees ultimately reach to my supreme planet. So we'll continue from here. Yeah. So we'll continue from text 24. So text 24 and 25 speaks about one more conception where generally we find difficult to understand things. So till text 23, 21, 22 and 23, in 4 verses Kṛṣṇa speaks about demigod worship, and now in 24th and 25 Kṛṣṇa is going to speak about another conception. This is called as impersonal Brahman, or understanding that everything is void or unmanifested, or kind of like, let's see what Kṛṣṇa says, or impersonalism and voidism. This topic will be discussed in 2 verses. Avyaktaṁ vyaktim āpannaṁ manyante abuddhayaḥ param bhāvam ajānanto mamāvyayam anuttamam. Kṛṣṇa says unintelligent man is abuddhayaḥ. Unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kṛṣṇa was impersonal before and have now assumed this personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. So if you see earlier, Krishna says the worshipper of demigods as small intelligence, well, alpamedesho, alpamedesha. So they are of small intelligence. And now those who worship, those who think that Krishna is impersonal and he actually void, now he has assumed this personality after coming into contact with this material nature, and those, Krishna says, those are unintelligent, right? So even they are lower than the one who worship demigods. So it says that no, because they do not know who am I perfectly, and because of that they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. So if you remember earlier, we have discussed about how Krishna says that it's being covered by my potency, my potency, so that it's not being revealed to everyone. And we'll see it again in this next verse as well, where Krishna is going to see, just imagine in 7.3, Krishna says that it's manushyanam sahasresu kaschijate siddhyaye yatataamapi siddhanam kaschin mam vijatatvataha. So knowing Krishna as tattvato is very, 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 very rare. And Krishna is giving another example here, that the people who think about impersonalism and think that everything is impersonal, everything is a void, and Krishna has now assumed this personality. That's because of their small knowledge, because they're unintelligent, right? So let's see into Prabhupada what it says. Prabhupada says, those who are worshipper of demigod have been described as less intelligent. Alpamedesha is seen now. And here the impersonalists are similarly described. So Lord Krishna is in his personal form is here speaking before Arjuna, and still due to ignorance, impersonalists argue that the Supreme Lord ultimately has no form. So understanding that Krishna has no personal form is actually because of small knowledge, because of unintelligent man. So it's not that Krishna has no form. Krishna has a complete form, and that's why he's called a Bhagavan, and that is the supreme form of him, right? So here Prabhupada mentions from Shastras as well. Yamunacharya, he says this very nice verse as well. Se tvam shila rupa charita parama prakriti satvena satvikataya pravalaischa shastrai prakhayat deva paramartha vidham mataischa naiva shura prakritya prabhami buddham. Says, my dear Lord, devotees like Vyasadeva, Narada, who know you to be personality of Godhead, by understanding different Vedic literature, one can come to know your characteristics, your form, your activities, and one can thus understand that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But the section comes here. But those who are in the modes of passion and ignorance, the demons, the non-devotees, they cannot understand you. They are unable to understand you. However, experts such non-devotees may be in discussing Vedanta and Upanishad and other Vedic literature. It is not possible for them to understand the personality of Godhead. So understanding personality of Godhead, understanding Krishna is not about just reading Vedanta, reading Upanishad and Vedic literature. It's actually about understanding his personal form. So even if someone is very scholar, very, very scholar, but he doesn't know about the Krishna's personal form, he actually has not gone to the essence of scripture yet. And that's why this verse says, imagine even Lord Vyasadeva, Narada, they all understand Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we will discuss this more today about this point. And this is a long purport as well. And Prabhupada makes so many points from Brahma Samhita and other, even Srimad Bhagavatam, saying that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Prabhupada says that modern impersonalists are still less intelligent, for they do not know even the follower of great precipitator Shankaracharya, who has specifically stated that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. An impersonalist, therefore, not knowing the supreme truth, think Krishna to be only the son of Devaki and Vasudeva, or a prince, or a powerful living entity. This is also condemned here in this Bhagavad Gita 11. We'll see it in chapter 9 as well. Avajānanti māmam mūಢā. Krishna says, Avajānanti, they do not know my real form, right? And they think that Krishna has taken a human form now, because he was actually impersonal earlier. He was void earlier, but now he has taken a form. And it's not possible for someone to take another form if we really don't have a form, right? So actually he has his own form, but because of our ignorance, because of our less knowledge, we can't see these things. Prabhupada gives me an example, like, let's imagine you are traveling in in your car, and also there's another car coming from opposite, and if the car puts a beam light on you, actually you won't be able to figure out the car. You just see the light, nothing, isn't it? You can't see the car properly. So in that way, we can see that this Gyan is, they actually sees this Krishna's effulgence and think that this is the end, nothing is there. But if you see properly, if you see that when you cross the another car, you can see a car is there. The light was so effulgent on your face that you could not see that as a car actually. Though we drive, we know this car, lights coming from the car. But in a similar way, the Gyani, they actually see the effulgence and they could not see beyond it. Right? If you see, I've taken an earlier example as when a bulb, like the bulb, when the bulb glows, we can't see the internal filament. But when you switch off it, we can see that there's a filament inside the bulb. That filament is glowing so that we get the light. But the light is not coming from the glass, it's coming from the filament. So in a similar way, this effulgence, what we see, or the Gyanis, they see that that's the end, right? Or that's impersonal. So that light is coming from Krishna's body. Though because of less intelligence, less knowledge, they could not see across it, right? And even Prabhupada mentioned another verse, nice verse from Bhagavatam by Lord Brahma. He says, Athapi te deva padam bhuja devya prasada leshana brita evahi janati tattvam bhagavan mahimo na chanyam eko api chiram which in one. Lord Brahma says, my Lord, if one is favored by even a slight trace of your mercy, of your lotus feet, he can understand the greatness of your personality. But those who speculate to understand Supreme Personality of Godhead are unable to know you, even though they continue to study Vedas for many, many years. So, if you remember, earlier we discussed that the very first thing we need to understand who Krishna is the faith in the scriptures. When we try to speculate by our own self, by our own understanding, we mislead our own self. As Brahma is saying, even though they have continued to read Vedas for many, many years, but they're unable to know you. However, anyone can know who Krishna is just by slight trace of mercy of Krishna's, even by these devotees. So when we have faith, when we have Shraddha, then we associate with the devotees, and then we know about Krishna's actual real form, right? Not by just trying to read Vedas. So reading Vedas is very good, but the conception is that we should understand who Krishna is, what his personality is. He's not impersonal, he's a person, right? So understanding Krishna by our mental speculation and discussing Vedic literature, it's not possible. However, Prabhupada says very nice, a very beautiful line. He says, one must understand him or Krishna by devotional service. So when we understand what devotional service, when we understand that we are Krishna's servant, so we start doing devotional service to him. So when we do service, we understand who Krishna is. So, and when at the very first beginning, it begins, how devotional service begins by chanting the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this way we can actually revive our own self and understand who Krishna is. So also Prabhupada says that those people who do not understand Krishna well and think that there's a word impersonal, these people are called as Mayavadis, because they think that because of Maya, Krishna has not taken another birth as a human form, but they do not know the ultimate truth. right? And again, Prabhupada goes more. He says earlier as well. Krishna explained this in previous verse. There's kamais taisai gata jnana prapadanti anna devata. So this also people who are blinded by lusty desire, surrounded by different demigods, and it is accepted that besides the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there are demigods who have their different planets, and the Lord has his own planet, right? So thereof, and again, Prabhupada mentions this point in the last paragraph, saying that therefore, the monastic contention that ultimate truth is formless and that form is imposed does not hold true. It is clearly stated here that it is not imposed. Krishna has its eternal form. He's not just came into contact with metal and got his body. It's not like that. Krishna has eternal form, Sachidananda Vigraha. So I think Prabhupada mentions here that the Lord Krishna is Sachidananda. He is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. And there are so many even all the Vedas, they speaks about the same thing, right? Okay, so let's take the next verse. So as of now, we have seen how Krishna says about the demigod worship, and then Krishna speaks about the people who think Krishna is impersonal, and now Krishna speaks more about why they can't understand Krishna. And Krishna is not bound to reveal anyone. Krishna is bound to reveal, not bound, even Krishna wishes to reveal to his devotees. He is not bound to reveal himself to anyone. That's text 25. Naham prakasa sarvasya yoga maya samanvrita modho yamna vijhanati loko mam ajam avyayam. Krishna says, I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them, I am covered by my internal potency, and therefore they do not know that I am unborn and infallible. So Krishna is actually unborn and infallible. And if you see in the previous verse, Krishna says that Krishna is imperishable and supreme. So Krishna is supreme, Krishna is imperishable, Krishna is unborn, ajaha, and Krishna is infallible. So infallible is, again, there are two meanings of infallible. First is Krishna never falls down from his position. So if you see in this world, in this material world, for example, a prime minister. So there's a position, and after some time, maybe next 5 years or sometime, this position is being given to someone else. So prime minister is a position, but the person changes. Next time person changes. And Krishna's position and Krishna, they never change. So Krishna remains Krishna all the time, at any point of time. That's why I call it infallible. And also, he also calls it infallible because he never failed to protect his devotees. Right? That's why Krishna is called Achyuta, infallible. Right? And Krishna is unborn. There is no cause, or there is no Adi or Anta for Krishna. Right? Yes. Prabhupada next makes he says, it may be argued that since Krishna was visible to everyone when he was present on this earth, how can it be said that he is not manifest to everyone? Isn't it? Just imagine, this is a very, very valid question. But if you see, Duryodhana was there. Duryodhana could not understand who Krishna is. Right? Even many others are there, they could not understand Krishna is. Right? So that's how Krishna, actually, he was not manifest to everyone. Though he was present, but he was only manifest to few people, like this Pandavas, Bhishma Pitama, then all this, not all. So, and then Prabhupada gives example of Shishupal. Shishupal also could not understand who Krishna is, neither Duryodhana and others, right? So if Duryodhana could have understood who Krishna is, then he could have asked Krishna himself, not the actually sign up before the fight, right? So, and again, Prabhupada mentioned one verse of Upanishad as well, how Krishna is actually covered, and also he is actually the maintainer of everything. It says, he said, "Oh my Lord, you are the maintainer of the entire universe, and the devotional service to you is the highest religious principles. Therefore, I pray that you will always maintain me." Right? That's nice, isn't it? Nice prayer. Oh Krishna, I know that you will always maintain me. Right? And your transcendental form is covered by Yoga Maya. The Brahma Jyoti is the covering of the eternal potency. And may you kindly remove this glowing effulgence that impedes my seeing your Sachidananda Vigraha, your eternal form of bliss and knowledge. As I was discussing earlier, this Krishna's effulgence is so bright, so bright, so bright that this Jnanis or the impersonalist or the Mayavadi, they could not see Krishna beyond that. And the prayer, this prayer is a Hiranamayi Patrena Shatyasta Paitam Mukham Tattvam Pushtana Apurvan Aprunu Satya Dharmaya Drishyate. So he's praying, oh Krishna, could you please take out this effulgence, glowing effulgence, so that I can see your Sachidananda Vigraha, that which is eternal form of bliss and knowledge. Right. And Prabhupada again continues from Srimad Bhagavatam by the prayers of Lord Brahma. And here he says, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, O Super Soul, O Master of all mystery, who can calculate your potencies and pastimes in this world? You are always expanding your eternal potencies, and therefore no one can understand you. Right. The learned scientists and learned scholars can examine the atomic constitution of the material world or even the planet, but still they are unable to calculate your energy and potency, although you are present before them. Right. So Krishna's form is blissful, he's full of knowledge, his energies are inexhaustible. And Krishna is infallible, Krishna is unborn. Right. So that's those two verses, even from 5-6 verses 20-25, it says about two very, very important things about the demigod worship and impersonalist or Mayavadis. So just to put some more thought on this from Srimad Bhagavatam and others, I will try to discuss some more thing from scripture so that this concept becomes clear for all of us. And then we'll go into the last section, maybe on Monday. Right. If you have any questions, we can discuss over otherwise. So let me share my screen. I think I have all here already. Yeah. So I will. Yes. So we'll discuss this verse first, and then we'll go to two more verses. So this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2 and Text 11, he speaks about how Krishna is known in three forms. Three forms is what? One is impersonal Brahman, second is as Paramatma, and third is Bhagavan itself, the highest and the absolute truth, Bhagavan himself. So he says, Badanti tattattvas vidas tattvam yaj jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti sabdyate. So he says, brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti sabdyate. Right. So the learned transcendentalist who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So Krishna is understood in three aspects. What are the aspects? One is Brahman, that is we see as effulgence of Krishna's body. There's a first level of realization. And then Paramatma who resides in each and every living entities, even in each atoms as Paramatma, the second level of realization. And Bhagavan is the third level of realization, who is complete eternal form, his own Sachidananda Vigraha. Right. I would like to read this paragraph so that it says more. He says, as it is explained in the first sloka of the first chapter of Bhagavatam, the supreme truth is self-sufficient, cognizant, and free from illusion of relativity. In the relative world, the knower is different from the known, but in the absolute truth, both the knower and the known are one and the same thing. In the relative world, the knower is the living spirit or superior energy, whereas the known is inert matter or inferior energy. Therefore, there is a duality of inferior and superior energy. Whereas in the absolute realm, both the knower and the known are of the same superior energy. There are three kinds of energies of the supreme energetic. There is no difference between the energy and energetic, but there is a difference of quality of energies. The absolute realm and the living entities are of the same superior energy, but the material world is inferior energy. The living being is in contact with the inferior energy, is illusioned, thinking he belongs to the inferior energy. Therefore, there is a sense of relativity in the material world. In absolute, there is no such sense of difference between the knower and the known, and therefore everything is there is absolute. So that's in a spiritual world. Here, we are discussing earlier in this chapter as well, where Kṛṣṇa says that inferior energies and superior energy. He says this. Bhumir āpannaṁ vyaktam mano buddhir evacha ahankar ityam me bhinna prakritir ashtadha. So these 8 elements are Kṛṣṇa's inferior energy, and Kṛṣṇa also speaks about the superior energy. There is parasakti, prakriti, that is the living entity, the jiva. So in this our body we have a soul, that's the eternal, and also we have this pancha mahabhut and madhi ahankar. These are Kṛṣṇa's energy, but these are inferior energy, right? So the point is, Kṛṣṇa is realized in 3 ways: Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. We have taken this example earlier as well, like the sun globe, the sun rays, and sun god itself, right? So by seeing sun rays, we can say the sun is out. Also by seeing the sun globe, we can say the sun is there. However, if you go to sun globe, we can actually see sun god as well. So these are 3 ways we can realize sun. In the similar way, we can realize Kṛṣṇa in 3 aspects. What is Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan? And Bhagavan is a complete realization. When we understand about Bhagavan, then we understand about Brahman as well as Paramatma, because we understand that Bhagavan's effulgence is Brahman, and Bhagavan's expansion, planetary expansion, or is Paramatma. So Kṛṣṇa's expansion is Paramatma, Kṛṣṇa's effulgence is Brahma, and Kṛṣṇa is Bhagavan Swayam, right? Lord Brahma says, Ishvara Parama Kṛṣṇa Sachidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Kṛṣṇa is the cause of all causes, and Kṛṣṇa is Ishvara Parama Kṛṣṇa. So Ishvara means what? Ishvara means, actually Ishvara means controller. So we are controller in one sense, but we are minor controller. We have very, very limited control. But Kṛṣṇa is Ishvara Parama. So he is Parameshwara. He is controller of everything. So we are minor controller. Kṛṣṇa is complete controller. That's why it's called Ishvara Parama. That is Kṛṣṇa. So supreme controller is Kṛṣṇa. So Supreme Bhagavan is Kṛṣṇa. Right. That's the one thing. And after now, we'll see that second thing, where it's from chapter 8, where Kunti Maharani prays Lord Kṛṣṇa, and she's explaining, saying that how you are not known to people, right? How people do not understand you. He says, Kunti Maharani prays, Maya javanika acānanto ajān adukṣajam avyayam na lakshyate muna drisha nato dharo yatha. What's he saying? Saying that being beyond the range of limited sense perception, you are eternally irreproachable factor covered by the curtain of dueling energy. You are invisible to the foolish observer, exactly as an actor dressed as a player is not recognized, right? So when we see the drama, isn't it, in the drama, the people who have, there's so many costumes and everything, but sometimes we fail to recognize who the person is, though we know the person very well. We know Kṛṣṇa very well. Kṛṣṇa is within our heart, but we are not able to recognize it because the example is given as if we see this person, but the person is completely in different costume. We can't recognize that person. And that's how that curtain, the makeup of the person playing in the role of drama, that is this curtain, this Maya Devi. She puts a curtain between us and Kṛṣṇa so that we are not able to see Kṛṣṇa well. Right? So how can we take away this curtain? By devotional service, by surrendering to Kṛṣṇa, by praying to Kṛṣṇa, by chanting his holy name, by associating with Kṛṣṇa, by reading his books, by knowing more about him from the devotees, then that curtain will be cleaned up. Then we can see Kṛṣṇa very well. Right? Yes, Prabhupada gives a very nice long purport here as well. Okay. And the next thing what I want to talk is about the last topic where we discussed about demigod worship and worshipping of Kṛṣṇa. So here in this verse, this is a nice verse as well. The 12th canto, 13th chapter, first verse. There Suta Goswami prays to Kṛṣṇa and saying, and I am paying my obeisance unto you, and unto you who all these pay their obeisances to. Let's see it. It says Suta Vacha. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutas Tanuvanti Dibyaistver Vedaiha Sangha Pada Kramopanishadaya Gayanti Yam Samaga Dhyana Avastita Tad Gaten Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino Yashyantam Na Vidu Sura Asura Gana Devaya Tasmai Namaha. Suta Goswami said, unto that personality whom Brahma, Varuna, Indra, Rudra and Marutas praise by chanting transcendental hymns and reciting the Vedas with all their corollaries, Padakramas and Upanishads, to whom the chanters of the Samaveda always sing, whom the perfected yogis see within their minds after fixing themselves in trance and absorbing themselves within him, and whose limit can never be found by any demigod or even demon. Unto that Supreme Personality of Godhead, I offer my humble obeisances. So you can understand the position of Kṛṣṇa from in this verse. Right? Kṛṣṇa has spoken this earlier in chapter 7. We have seen that the one who worship me, he comes to my abode. And Kṛṣṇa also told us in chapter 7 that even by worshipping Devatas, the faith what we get from Kṛṣṇa. Even the boon or our desire being fulfilled, that's already being sanctioned by Kṛṣṇa himself. So ultimately Kṛṣṇa is in behind, and we are getting everything. And in chapter 9 also goes almost same with this chapter 7. And there also Kṛṣṇa said that the people who worship the Devatas, they actually worship me, but in a wrong way. Right? We'll discuss that when we come to chapter 9 again. So that was a bit the conclusion of this section where demigod worship and impersonalism being explained and also being criticized by Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa says the people who are alpameda sadhus, who are less intelligent, they worship devatas, and those who are unintelligent, they worship or they think Kṛṣṇa is impersonal, right? He has no form. There is no spiritual form of Kṛṣṇa. He is formless, right? So we'll like to stop here. I will early today, but if anyone has any questions or thought or discuss something, please feel free to. Okay. If everything is all good, then we can stop here. We'll continue our last section. That is more 5 verses remaining from this chapter. That we will do on Monday. Hare Krishna. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki
Jai.
Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Sant Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki
Jai.